Since Kvasir was as wise as the Aesir and Vanir, and he had an answer for every question, the gods sent him out to teach harmony to humans, dwarves, and elves. No one was so smart as to exhaust Kvasir's knowledge. Kvasir was respected in all worlds, and his reputation grew daily. On one of his journeys, Kvasir encountered the dwarves Fjalar and Galar. The two dwarves invited him to share a secret. As Kvasir leaned in towards Fjalar, Galar beheaded him. They caught Kvasir's blood in a cauldron and 2 bowls. Fjalar and Galar mixed honey into the blood, creating a magical mead. Anyone who drank it became either a poet or a sage. The gods missed Kvasir and were disappointed, for they had high hopes that he would guide the worlds with greater wisdom. Fjalar and Galar told the gods that Kvasir had drowned in his own wisdom, but Odin didn't trust them and sent his ravens Hugin and Munin to find out the truth. Fjalar and Galar were pleased with their gain, which they initially kept hidden, but later they couldn't resist boasting about it to their friends. Feeling secure, they planned another wicked act. They invited the giant Gilling and his wife on a boat trip. When they were far enough from the shore, they rammed an underwater reef, capsizing the boat. Gilling drowned as he couldn't swim, while Fjalar and Galar clung on and swam to land. They told Gilling's wife that her husband had drowned and they couldn't save him. Then they killed her too, as Galar dropped a millstone from a roof onto her. But revenge wasn't long in coming. Gilling's son, Suttung, learned of the deeds and sought to avenge the death of his parents. Suttung took the dwarfs to their own home, seized them, and brought them near the place where his father had drowned. He tied the dwarfs to a small rocky outcrop that only emerged from the sea at low tide. Suttung kept his boat near the outcrop. As the tide rose higher, the screams of the 2 dwarfs grew louder. When the water reached their chins, they offered the precious mead as a penalty for Suttung's parents and affirmed it with oaths. Suttung then untied them, took them back to their home, claimed the mead for himself, and let the dwarfs go. The giant Suttung hid the cauldron and the bowl deep inside the Schlagberg mountain and appointed his daughter Gunlod as the guardian. Odin's ravens, Hugin and Munin, brought him news of Kvasir's death and the location where the mead was now hidden. All the Asgardians agreed in council. The mead had to be retrieved, for otherwise the giants would become wiser and more cunning than them. No one was better suited to recover the mead than Odin himself. The Allfather made his way to a meadow owned by Suttung's brother Baugi. There, 9 thralls were mowing, and Odin asked if he should sharpen their scythes. Wanting to take a break, the thralls agreed, and Odin pulled a whetstone from his belt to sharpen their tools. The scythes cut far better after this, and all the thralls wanted the stone. As a price, Odin demanded whatever they felt the stone was worth. Each thrall wanted the stone for himself, so Odin threw it up into the air. In their greed and carelessness, the thralls drew their freshly sharpened scythes and tried to catch the falling stone. In the ensuing chaos, they ended up cutting each other's throats and died on the spot. Odin, now disguised as Bölverk, met Baugi in the evening. The giant, unaware of the stranger's true identity, granted him shelter for the night. Baugi lamented the tragic loss of his thralls and was unsure how he would complete the upcoming work. Bölverk offered to take on the work of the dead thralls and asked only for a sip of the magical mead as a reward. Baugi agreed, and so Bölverk began the summer's labor for the giant. As winter approached, he demanded his agreed-upon payment. Baugi explained that only Suttung and his daughter were allowed to drink this mead and that he himself did not have access to the kettle. However, he promised to lead Odin to his brother Suttung to ask for a sip of the mead. Baugi and Odin, still disguised as Bölverk, traveled to Suttung. Baugi informed his brother of the arrangement. Suttung led them to the vessels containing the precious mead, but allowed them neither to touch it nor to taste even a drop. Disappointed, they left the estate and moved on. Once they were far enough away, Odin pulled out a special drill named Rati and handed it to Baugi. "Drill a hole into the mountain behind which the mead is hidden," Odin instructed. Baugi placed the drill and began drilling. After a while, he announced that he was through. Odin blew into the drill hole to make sure, but the chips flew back at him. "You are not entirely through," Odin noted, and urged Baugi to continue drilling. This time, when Odin blew into the hole, the chips flew inward. Assured that the passage was now open, Odin transformed into a snake and slithered through the hole. Baugi tried to kill the snake with a stab, but he missed. Odin, still in the form of a snake, managed to escape. He had successfully deceived Baugi and found his way to the valuable mead. Odin, now back in the guise of Belverk, reached the spot where the beautiful Gunnlod guarded the vessels. He deliberately diverted his attention from the vessels and focused solely on Gunnlod. He aroused feelings of love in her and made her a marriage promise by swearing fidelity. After spending 3 nights with him, she allowed him to drink from the mead, but he could only take 3 sips. With the first sip, Odin emptied the kettle, with the second, the first bowl, and with the third, the second one. He then quickly transformed into an eagle and flew away. Gunnlod felt betrayed. She screamed in the cave until Suttung rushed over. He saw the escaping eagle and realized that his mead had been stolen. Suttung donned his own eagle skin and took off in pursuit. The Asgardians saw Odin flying heavily laden towards them. They placed bowls to catch the precious mead and prepared their weapons in case Suttung should reach Asgard. Odin flew ever further, but Suttung was closing in. To shake off his pursuer, Odin let some of the mead fall behind him. This lesser part has since been the lot of those who only speak empty words or write bad poetry. However, Odin managed to bring the bulk of the mead safely to Asgard. He shared it with the Asgardians and with humans destined to become true poets and scholars. A small portion Odin kept for himself, thus solidifying his reputation as the god of wisdom and poetry. The next day, frost giants came to Odin in his hall and asked for Belverk. Odin denied ever having heard of a Belverk. The frost giants explained that he had deceived their sister Gunnlod and stolen their mead. When they had gone, Thor accused Odin of deception and treachery. "These giants are not all bad. They deserved honesty," said Thor. "All giants are evil," Odin retorted. With those words, he made, in Thor's view, all giants the enemies of the gods.